Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel first video. Today we're tackling a topic that so many of us can relate to, dealing with aggressive people. Whether it's a coworker who's always on edge, a family member who lashes out, or even a stranger who's having a bad day, aggression can leave us feeling frustrated, hurt, or even powerless. But here's the thing, you don't have to meet aggression with aggression. In fact, there are ways to handle these situations that can not only diffuse the tension, but also make the other person reflect on their behavior and maybe even apologize. In this video, I'm sharing 8 verbal tricks that are rooted in psychology, empathy, and effective communication. These aren't about manipulation or playing mind games. They're about staying calm, assertive, and human, even when the other person isn't. So let's dive in. Point 1. The power of silence. Let's start with something simple but incredibly powerful. Silence. When someone is being aggressive, their goal is often to provoke a reaction. By staying silent, you take away their ammunition. For example, if someone snaps at you with a rude comment, instead of firing back, just pause. Look at them calmly. This silence can feel uncomfortable for them, and it often forces them to reflect on what they've just said. I remember a time when I was in a meeting, and a colleague made a snarky remark about my idea. Instead of defending myself right away, I just stayed quiet. After a few seconds, they actually apologized and said, "I didn't mean to come off so harsh." Silence isn't weakness, it's strength. It shows you're in control of your emotions. Point 2. Validate their feelings without agreeing. Next up, validation. Aggressive people often act out because they feel unheard or misunderstood. By acknowledging their feelings, you can disarm them. For instance, if someone says, "You never listen to me," instead of arguing, you could say, "I can see that you're really frustrated and I want to understand why." This doesn't mean you agree with their behavior, but it shows empathy. And often this shift can make them calm down and open up in a more respectful way. Think about it. When someone feels heard, they're much less likely to stay defensive. Point 3. Ask open-ended questions. Another great trick is to ask open-ended questions. Aggressive people often expect you to either fight back or shut down. By asking questions, you take control of the conversation. For example, if someone is yelling, you could ask, "Can you help me understand what's making you so upset?" This forces them to think about their emotions and explain themselves, which can lead to a more productive dialogue. I've used this trick with a friend who was venting about a work issue. Instead of getting defensive, I asked, "What specifically is bothering you about this situation?" It completely changed the tone of the conversation. Point 4. Use I statements. Now let's talk about I statements. When someone is aggressive, it's easy to blame them, but that often escalates the situation. Instead, focus on how their behavior affects you. For example, instead of saying, "You're being so rude," you could say, "I feel hurt when you speak to me like that." This shifts the focus from attacking them to expressing your feelings, which can make them more likely to apologize and change their tone. It's a small change, but it makes a huge difference in how the other person receives your message. Point 5. Mirror their words. Mirroring is a psychological technique where you repeat back what someone has said, but in a calm and neutral tone. This shows you're listening and can help them hear how they sound. For example, if someone says, "You're always so lazy," you could respond, "So you think I'm lazy?" This often makes them pause and reconsider their words, because they're forced to hear their own aggression reflected back at them. I've seen this work in family arguments. When you mirror someone's words, it's like holding up a mirror to their behavior, and they don't always like what they see. Point 6. Set boundaries firmly but kindly. Setting boundaries is crucial when dealing with aggression. You don't have to tolerate disrespect, but you can enforce your boundaries without being harsh. For example, you could say, "I want to hear what you have to say, but I need you to lower your voice so we can talk." This shows you're willing to engage, but only on respectful terms. Most people will adjust their behavior when they realize you're serious about your boundaries. I've used this with a coworker who had a habit of interrupting me. I said, "I value your input, but I need to finish my thought before we move forward." It worked like a charm. Point 7. Use humor carefully. Humor can be a great way to defuse tension, but it has to be used carefully. The goal isn't to mock the person, but to lighten the mood. For example, if someone is being overly dramatic, you could say, "Wow, I didn't know we were in a soap opera." If done right, this can make them laugh and realize they're overreacting. Just be sure to read the room. Humor won't work in every situation. I remember using this with a friend who was ranting about a minor issue. I joked, "Is this the part where we start flipping tables?" We both laughed, and it completely changed the vibe. Ponent 8. End with a positive note. Finally, always try to end the conversation on a positive note. Even if the other person has been aggressive, leaving things on a good tone can make them feel guilty and more likely to apologize later. For example, you could say, "I know we're both upset right now, but I really value our relationship and want to work this out." This shows you're committed to resolving the issue, not just winning the argument. I've found that ending on a positive note often leads to a follow-up apology or a more constructive conversation later on. And there you have it, 8 verbal tricks to make an aggressive person sorry. Remember, the goal isn't to win or defeat someone else. It's about fostering understanding, respect, and healthier communication. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips on navigating life's tricky situations with grace and confidence. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.